Wembley Stadium in North London. It's quiet now, but in 3 months' time this place will be absolutely jumping as the Champions League final comes to town. Now, among the 16 teams left in the competition this year are Paris Saint-Germain and Valencia, who meet each other in the next round. The Spanish side were twice finalists just over a decade ago in this competition, and while the landscape of Spanish football has changed a little bit since then, they have been doing well in this year's tournament. Paris Saint-Germain, though, are one of the new potential powerhouses of the European game. Managed by Carlo Ancelotti, with the likes of Thiago Silva, Ibrahimovic and, of course, now David Beckham, they've got their sights set on the biggest prize of all. Well, hello, I'm James Richardson, and here I am with Pete Staunton and Paul Macdonald to talk about Paris Saint-Germain's trip to Valencia. Paris Saint-Germain, Pete, back in the competition after 8 years out of the Champions League. How is it that Manchester City couldn't get past that lack of experience, but PSG were able to get through?
Well, if you look through the spine of the Paris Saint-Germain team, you'll find Champions League experience all over the place. So although the club itself hasn't been in the Champions League for 8 years, these players, by and large, have been. And obviously you've got a manager like Carlo Ancelotti who's been so successful in the competition in the past, and he's hugely experienced at this level too. There's no denying the fact that the likes of Thiago Silva, Alex, Lavezzi, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, you know, there's Maxwell even, there's Champions League experience dripping from this club in the first team, and for that reason they deservedly topped their group, and I would say that they approached the tie against Valencia as justified favourites. When
you list the players like that, they sound like one of the best squads in the competition. How far do you think they can go?
Well, I think the one thing that Ancelotti and Leonardo have done exceptionally well is that they haven't just gone for big names. Although Zlatan was probably the biggest name they brought in, they've assembled a squad in such a way that they've kept a cohesiveness within the side, even though that the playing staff has largely been overhauled since the Qatari owners took control of the club. So in that respect, I think that PSG could justifiably, in my opinion, you know, they could go all the way, and I think we could be looking at a club that could be back here at Wembley come May.
Oh, remarkable stuff. Dunker Isaac saying everyone's talking about Ibrahimovic as the player to watch in this tie. But what about Roberto Soldado, who scored twice as many goals in Europe?
I agree with the reader that Soldado is very important to Valencia. He's the fulcrum of their attack. And he has got 4 goals in the Champions League this season. But let's not forget, all 4 were against Bate, a very weak team in the group stages. I think you need to look beyond Ibrahimovic's goals to see what he brings to PSG. Along with the gravitas and his mystique, he also contributed 5 assists in the group stages, which is more than any other player. So yes, Soldado was important to Valencia. Ibra is one of the key elements of the PSG team, and I think everything flows through him.
Of course, Valencia are in a very different predicament to the one that they were in when they were last in the upper reaches of the Champions League. Massive financial problems there. These 2 stadiums they've managed to get for themselves, and they're now in the hands of the local community, almost being kept alive by public money. Yeah,
I think Valencia are very much a club that have had to manage their expectations. From the players they've let go in recent years, you're looking at David Silva, Juan Mata, David Villa. These are key players that have left. And I think now, after changing manager this season, I think after 3 or 4 years of being the 3rd best team in Spain behind Barcelona and Real Madrid, I think they're just happy to be in the knockout stages. And I think PSG going to this tie as firm favourites. Well,
the Valencia fans happy that they haven't lost players over January. 2 big arrivals, of course, for Paris Saint-Germain. Lucas Moura, who's slotted well into the side, Pete, and also David Beckham. Is he going to play much of a role, do you think, in the Champions League campaign?
I don't think we can expect to see Beckham play too much from the outset in the Champions League campaign. I think when Blas Matuidi and Thiago Motta are fit and available, they'll start every game in centre midfield. But you could ask for no better player, I think, and it's a role that he's played with Fabio Capello at England, is that when England needed to close out matches, Beckham would come on and he'd take possession of the ball and he would guide the younger, more inexperienced players through the game. I think we can expect to see Beckham play that kind of role with Paris Saint-Germain, if indeed he plays at all. It'll be more of a shadowing exercise for the likes of Marco Verratti to look up to Beckham and to see what they can learn from a player who's kept himself so fit and so healthy all the way throughout his career, and still at the age of 37 fancies himself as a Champions League player.
Yeah, I agree. I think we can't be under any illusions why Beckham has been brought to Paris. He's very much a marquee signing, and the Beckham brand that arrives comes with everything that PSG are looking for. But I think it just so happens in their case that they've got a 37-year-old who is still supremely fit for his age, and he'll bring much more than just game time to Paris Saint-Germain over the next few months.
Pete's tipping Paris Saint-Germain for this one. What do you think, Paul?
Unfortunately, I follow a lot of Spanish football, but I think Valencia won't be strong enough to knock out a team who could go all the way, as Pete says.
All right. OK, well, that's Valencia against PSG, which will be coming up on Tuesday. You can follow all the action, of course, right here at goal.com. And any questions you want to put to our panel, just put the hashtag AskGoal.